سلام بچه، حالت چطور؟ خیلی خوش اومدید به یه قسمت ویدیوی خفنی دیگه از زمان شیوع بیماری زامبی که مردم تبدیل به زامبی میشن. حالا یه کارتون خیلی خفنه، حالا بریم ببینیم. حتما لایک، سابسکرایب، کامنت وقت فراموش نشه و بیام حالی بریم سراغ ویدیو. تو کاریرم.
So, what do you think is down there?
فکر می‌کنی چی اینجا؟
Down where?
Sometimes, Chet, I think you have less brain cells than fingers. Down there.
Oh, down there.
Oh,
Yeah,
fine,
well,
fine,
heck if I
fine,
know.
fine.
I just knocked into it this morning.
Yeah, I know, Chet. I was there.
Oh,
اونجا
that's
بودم.
right. Well, if you're so curious, why don't you just go down there?
یکی اگه کنجکاوی چرا نمیری یه سر
Only
به پایین
if you
بزن؟
come with me. Buddy system
Yeah, get on,
and
yeah,
all
I mean.
that.
Time's a wasting, Jethro.
اومدم پایین.
Well, would you look at that?
What is it?
Nothing. Well, except for these mushrooms.
بیا این قارچا رو نخور.
Don't eat that.
Really? Why would I eat this? I just had my sandwich.
Did you hear that? Sounds like something's down here.
Well, let's get
یه
out.
صدایی اومد
I
انگار.
don't want to come face to face with an angry bear.
Well, it didn't sound like
دیگه من نمیخوام با یه خرس روبرو. داداش این خرس نیست، این
It's just a
زامبی.
homeless guy.
He doesn't look okay.
اون یه مرد بی
Hey, man, can we
خانمانه.
get you any help?
مرد بی خان. اوه گازش گرفت. اوه.
First exposure, 1700 hours. Location, need to know.
مکان
Time
باید
before
زمان
SCP response, 3 days.
خب
MTF Bravo Romero was dispatched to contain a
کنن
viral
کسایی بودن
outbreak of
که بیان
SCP-008.
ببینن چه اتفاقی
By the time we
افتاده،
arrived on
بیان
scene,
بررسی کنن.
police had
پلیس
already
بودن.
blocked all roads in and out of town. A half measure at best.
دیگه
Estimated 60%
داخل
of
شهر
the town
خارج از
already
شهر
infected.
کلا مسدود
Nasty
شده
little
بوده،
thing.
همه
The
تبدیل به
zombie
زامبی
plague
شده
they
بودن.
called it. SCP-008.
شهر آلوده
100%
شده بوده.
infectious, 100% lethal. Transmission occurs through exposed mucous membranes and all bodily fluids. Biting. They mean biting. After biting, you'll see flu-like symptoms with high fever,
وقتی که
plus severe
گازتون میگیرن
dementia
یه
in later
علائمی میشه
stages.
تب
20
و
hours later, and they're in a coma.
جور چیزا.
For the sake of our sanity, this is when they are considered dead. The bodies start looking gangrenous, warped, grotesque.
شما به کما
Then
میرید و
that's when they get back up.
زمان تبدیل به زامبی.
Surviving tissue assumes its original function and is highly resilient. Increased muscle endurance and strength. It can do basic things including standing up, balancing on 2 legs, walking, biting, grabbing and
در مورد
crawling.
علائمش داره
Slow,
میگه، میگه که
but
زمانی
they've
که
got a
گاز
vice-like
بگیره
grip.
چه اتفاقی
Not
برای
something you want
بدنتون
grabbing you.
میفته.
High blood viscosity results in negligible blood flow from gunshot, puncture, and slashing
Oh.
injuries. It's like their blood is turned to cement. The object will energetically move towards sights, sounds, and smells it associates with living humans. Subject will attempt significant cranial trauma.
Well, if they're already displaying symptoms, enact
Doctor,
quarantine
eh?
protocols until we can dispose of them. You
قرنطینه
better be the
رو-
MTF team I asked for 6 hours ago.
Bravo Romeo, at your service. How
Oh.
bad is it?
Like, that's a question you even need to ask. I trust you've been briefed.
I've got the gist.
Yeah, sure,
Mask
sure,
on once we enter the
that's-
quarantine zone, aim for the head, no one escapes. The basics.
That'll have to suffice.
این دکتر فکر
So
کنم
how did
اومده
it
چی؟
infect this whole town?
اینا کسایی هن
know.
که فکر کنم
What we've
میرن
been able to
اونایی که
glean from the
بیرونه رو
survivors is
میکشن.
that it
یعنی
originated near the
زامبیایی که
construction
هستن
site
سوار
on
هلی
Route
میشن
7.
میرن میکشن.
I saw it when I was coming in. Looked like where they were dumping the bodies.
That's what we've gathered. We'll be disinfecting this place for months.
What's the game plan?
We will be enacting Containment Protocol Kilo Psi.
I'm not sure I'm acquainted with that.
You said you were briefed. Classic Foundation oversight. Well, I guess I'll need to explain. The first thing your team will need to do is relieve the police. So far, we've been lucky that none of the creatures have come close to their checkpoints, so they're still in the dark. They think there's been a chemical spill, but given the population of the town, they're bound to collide.
Bravo Romeo, let's get
خاطر
the
یه
local
گاز
PD out of
گرفتگی
here.
همه
They've served
شهر
their
کلی
purpose.
شهر به
Sorry,
ساچ رفت.
continue.
As I was saying, your team will surround the town in a single file perimeter, moving slowly and deliberately, They will close in around the town, eliminating all those creatures they come across.
دارن نقشه می‌ریزن که چجوری کنترلش
That's a
کنن.
little too Hollywood for my taste. A second team will follow behind, considering those fire won't necessarily eliminate every disease prion. That's why we'll be using modified flamethrowers
یا
that
حتی بعد
function more
آتش
like a
سوزی هم
butane
حتی
torch than
زنده
a
یعنی با
flamethrower.
تنها راهش اینه
That's all
که
well and good,
به
Doc. But
مغزشون
what
بزنی.
happens when we come to a house? If burning's not an option, then what?
آتش سوزی
You
فقط
clear
جزوی
it.
از بدنشون
It's your job.
شاید
You
مثلا
can't
بعضیشون
always
شاید
avoid
زنده
danger.
مونن.
We need an accurate count of the dead. Otherwise, we might end up down here again in a week. Position people at all exits and then send in 2 soldiers to clear the house, room by room. No stone gets left unturned.
Roger that. Won't it break the perimeter, though?
No.
Dora,
Everyone
what
stops.
kind
If
of
the perimeter is
knowledge is
broken,
yeah.
the risk of a creature slipping through is too high. Might sound like a pain, but it's the safest way to do this. Now, after all the townspeople are accounted for, that's when we level this town. Every house, shack, road, gone. We can't leave any evidence of this place behind.
Well, I guess my team has its work cut out for it.
So why are you just standing there? Get going.
Right. What came after was probably the bleakest time since I joined up.
ولی این تنهایی
Now,
میره
I've been in worse
جنگ با این همه.
situations, facing almost certain death, barely escaping with my life. But this was different. There was a lot of downtime to really think about the situation, about my life. It got depressing real quick. I took inventory of everything. What matters to me?
گفت سردی
Who
کننده
matters to
شده
me?
واقعا خیلی
We
شخماتی
finally finished things. The entire population accounted for. But there was one thing that was bugging me. How did this all start? The construction crew had uncovered a cave. We went down.
همینجا بود دیگه
The
فکر
cave
کنم
smelled like your foot
زامبیا
after a
اینجا
day of
اومدن.
PT. That's where we found it. Patient 0 of this particular outbreak. A shriveled up corpse, more rot than
همین
flesh.
جسده.
Someone must have put it out of its misery before we arrived. DNA and fingerprints didn't match anyone in town or on the missing persons registry. They say these things can live for almost 10 years without anything. What's it like being one of these things? Do they realize what they've become?
چه بلایی
Maybe that's a
سرشون
question we don't need an answer to. Oh, did I mention the best part of this up? After it's all over, after all the grimy, gory work is done, 4 months quarantine. No exceptions. It's like jail, but you didn't do anything wrong. It was gonna be a long time. But it wasn't all
شبیه
bad.
چیز خودمونه دیگه. حالا من
Someone
اسمش
looks like they could
نمی‌دونم
use some
باشه.
cheering up.
Well, if it isn't my favorite foundation doctor.
شبیه تو گیر
Stop.
میره، باید
What about Dr.
اسمش
Buck?
نیارم.
I've met some SCPs friendlier than her.
Stop. She's not as bad as you might think.
What's in the box?
I'll show you if you take back what you said about Buck.
Fine. Dr. Buck is the friendliest, fuzziest, most sincere person I've ever met.
That didn't sound sarcastic at all.
Come on, show me what's in there.
همچین کارتونایی رو واقعا باید تو تلویزیون
Are they-
ببینن. یعنی
they
بخش
all
چیزا
for
خیلی
me?
چیز جالبیه. همین چیزایی رو میتونن
course.
آموزش بگیرن
They might be a
و هم
little
به
dry.
دردشون میخوره
You
واقعا.
know, I may have a PhD in
Well, gee,
experimental
shot.
research of cryptids, but baking has
خدایی
never been
نکرده
my
همچین
strongest
اتفاق
talent.
افتاد.
I'm sure they're wonderful.
از این ور میدن با پروتکل از اونم تحویل
You can
میدن.
only
چه
have one a day, though. Don't want you getting all soft in there.
I'm gonna eat them all right now, and there's nothing you can do about it.
باحال.
Don't make me come in there.
میگه
It's
مجبورم
missions
نشی
like
وارد
this that
اونجا
puts
بشی.
everything into perspective. What you couldn't care less about, and what you'd move mountains for.
چه مرسی که این ویدیو رو دیدید و تا آخر این ویدیو همراه من بودید. حتما لایک، سابسکرایب، کامنت هیچ وقت فراموش نشه و تا ویدیو بعدی خداحافظ.